My name is Kyle Walensky. This is my 1998 GTI VR6. We are in Helen, Georgia for Alpine Volks Fair. So Elliot from Performance VW approached me last spring. I guess he was kind of like following along and he saw the build was coming to a completion. So he had hit me up and asked me if I'd be willing to, you know, shoot the car for Performance VW. And obviously I said yes. It's always been a dream of mine. Shot the car in November in Princeton, New Jersey. Dave Torme shot it. Fast forward to, we're in May now. PVW released my car. It's on the cover. Like, just an incredible feeling to see something that you built over 4 years make the cover of Performance VW. I mean, I'm 34 years old. I've been reading that since I was 15. I'm literally getting goosebumps just talking about it right now. Like, it's just amazing to see the car on the cover. And for the magazine to be released the same exact month as this show in Helen where I'm debuting the car, it was just really like a home run on both ends of it. I've owned this car for 12 years, and then 4 years ago I decided to do a complete restoration of the car, full chassis, every nut and bolt. I've always wanted to build a car from like just a bare finished shell, like every nut and bolt. It seemed like the suiting thing to do once we realized how much rust was involved. If anybody owns a Mark III, they know that they kind of were like rusting as soon as they came off the factory line. So, you know, 20 years later, here we are. So I actually had the interior done before the car was even painted. The interior was done by a company called Love's Trim down here in Georgia. So when it came time to paint, we sprayed out a bunch of samples and holding, you know, the interior up to it to find a really good contrast. And it was kind of down to red or blue, and blue is where I went, and I'm really happy with it. It's a Porsche color. Everything is gloss blue underneath the interior. It's absolutely beautiful, and it felt really weird covering it up with a complete full interior, but that's the direction I wanted to go with it. And you know, the rear beam has been powder coated, everything. The subframe has been powder coated. So I've always been obsessed with these wheels. They're made by a company called ETA Beta out of Italy. They're very popular in Europe, but they're rarely seen in the States, and I've always wanted them. So it took me probably 2 years to source the wheels out. I found them in France. I bought them and then had them shipped here, and DHL actually lost one of the wheels for about 2 months. So that was a very stressful process. But once they showed up, I had them completely taken apart and ceramic polished and then ceramic coated and then reassembled. The Porsche brakes were obviously a feature to go with the wheels. They fit perfectly behind the wheel. It just made complete sense to go with that total package. The motor's a 3.2 liter VR6 24 valve. I've always been a VR6 guy. I've had plenty of 12 valve cars. I own an R32, a Mark IV R32, and I just love the sound of it, and I thought it'd be a perfect motor for this car. The motor is actually completely bone stock. It has 82,000 miles on it. All I've done is ARP hardware and a head spacer to lower the compression. 1000cc Genesis injectors. And then everything was chrome plated and powder coated by my good friend Nick at MVP Finishing in Staten Island, New York. The intake manifold was made by a company called HAP. And I just love the way it looks. It's just a nice tight package in there. They make really beautiful products. I switched the car from drive-by wire to drive-by cable using a Ford Mustang throttle body. Being on standalone, I was able to do that. And then all the piping is made by my friend Adam. I wanted a nice tight package. You know, whenever you turbo something, there's a lot going on in the bay, and my ultimate goal was to make it as neat and tight package as possible. So the exhaust manifold is made by a company called JDL out of Arizona. It's a full stainless exhaust manifold. It's just it's a work of art. I'm just so excited by the work that those guys do, and to have their parts on my cars is just incredible. The turbo is a Borg-Warner SSE 366 with a 0.91, and I'm using a tile wastegate. Power levels, I'm not really sure. The car is making 14 pounds of boost right now on a 3.2. I would probably put the power range in the low 400s, being front wheel drive. The plan is, once I get it home from Helen, to go back at it and tune a little bit more. And once the tuning's squared away, I'd like to get it on a dyno and see what kind of power it makes. But as of right now, it's 14 pounds which seems to be plenty of power for a front wheel drive car. Before I brought the car down here, I put about 50 miles on the car total, just kind of like shakedown miles since I built it. I kind of ran out of time to get it down here, but that's just the way it goes with everything. So the transmission is an O2A. I have a straight cut gear set 1 through 4 from AP Tuning. It's just really to make the transmission stronger. I have a Quaife diff and then all ARP hardware. It's incredibly loud when you're just driving in 4th gear. It whines like a supercharger, but it's, you know, supposed to be pretty indestructible. So with the base shave, you know, when me and my painter were deciding what we wanted to do, I really wanted to keep a lot of the factory lines and the factory seams. In my opinion, when you over shave certain things like the frame rails, it really, you know, starts to show body work over a couple years and starts to crack. So I really wanted to keep an OEM plus feel to the engine bay. That's why I kept a lot of the seams, I kept the rain tray cover and things like that. All the parts on the car are European parts. So the front bumper, the fenders, the rear bumper, the hatch, they're all European spec parts. And then I have, you know, the Vento headlights and Hella all red tail lights, Vento grille that we shaved into a badgeless, and then an ABT front lip. So before the car was painted, I contacted Jamie at Orchid Euro in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. He has a warehouse basically filled with European parts that he fills containers and ships over here. Jamie was kind enough to let me go to his warehouse in Pottstown and basically dig through all of his parts and pick out everything that I wanted for it. Bumpers, hatch, fenders, all the European parts that you see on the car now. But like on the Mark IIIs, the American bumpers are like really big and bulky, and the European stuff is a lot more sleek and slim and tighter fitting to the car. Obviously, I think it's a better look, but you know, people in Europe might argue with me about that one. So the side mirrors are from the 90s. We call them piezo mirrors or Project Zwo mirrors. Pretty hard to find these days. I was able to find a new old stock set and have them painted, and I really think it's a really nice 90s feature on the car, like the ABT front lip. While we were at the body shop and we were fixing rust and replacing panels, I decided I wanted to do probably one of my favorite features on the car, which is we did half cup door handles. So we shaved the top half of the cup and then we added polo handles on it. It gave it a really nice sleek look to the car. And we also decided to do an Audi TT gas door, and my buddy Adam shaved all the bolt holes that are normally around the gas door itself to give it a much cleaner look. And I'm really happy with it. It's probably my 2 favorite features of the exterior of the car. Obviously, besides the paint, I love the paint color, and you know, it was a really hard decision to make, and I'm really happy with it. I'm happy with the way it turned out. You know, a lot of people do like motorsport themes, and you know, I wanted to kind of throw in a little bit of like a luxury feel, and then when I started going at it, I was like, you know, I don't want to keep anything on the interior motorsports besides the shifter. I wanted to just kind of feel like, you know, a luxury car when I got in it. And I've had cars in the past where I've had bucket seats and, you know, just uncomfortable, and it's great, and you know, that has its place. But this time around, you know, I just wanted something that felt factory. You get in it and it just feels right, and it's not a Volkswagen. It feels like it's like more of a luxury car. So the trunk setup is just a simple 5-gallon air ride tank with a couple little hard lines, nothing over the top. I wanted just simple, clean lines. It has like a little bit of a hot rod feel in the trunk. Simple, but really nice. The steering wheel is a BBS steering wheel, which I actually had wrapped in leather and suede to kind of flow with the interior. I've always wanted the BBS wheel. My friend Nick at MVP Finishing, he made me a custom center horn button so I can put any 70mm BBS center cap in it. So you know, naturally I picked a blue center cap to go with it. It kind of brought a little bit of color into the inside, but nothing over the top. Yep. I come to the show yesterday, and I end up winning Best in Show, which again, an incredible feeling. And not only did I win Best in Show, but what was included is a all expenses paid trip to Wörthersee in Austria for 2022. I mean, I'm just completely blown away by that. That is just incredible. Usually you get a trophy and a high five. I'm just in shock that, you know, I'm gonna go to Wörthersee next year. It's been a stressful, long road. If anybody's ever built a car or restored a car, you just know that the headaches involved. and the complications and dealing with companies and trying to find parts and deadlines, and it's just really stressful. And it took 4 years, but I feel like in the grand scheme of things, 4 years really wasn't that much time for everything that was involved. And then basically it all came down to this weekend, and here we are. I really got to thank who's become my good friend now, Brad at BSH Customs. He really went over the top with the car. He put so much time and energy into the car as if it was his own, and I really owe it to him. He did an amazing job on the paint job. Everything just, I couldn't be happier with that. One of my best friends, Adam Strunk, he did all my fabrication work on the car, built all the parts in the engine bay, the exhaust. He did a stellar job. Again, could not be happier. Another good friend of mine, Matt at Eurocraft, he wired the entire chassis for me. The car is on MS3 Pro standalone, so he was able to build me an entire scratch-built harness. If I have any advice for anybody, it's just to keep moving along. There's plenty of hurdles when building a car. It beats you down, and sometimes you just need to walk away for a couple weeks, regain your thoughts, and then go back at it with a fresh mind. And I think that's like the best advice I can give. If you have a deadline, throw it out the window. Just build it however long it takes. Just do it exactly how you want. Don't rush anything. Who cares? That car show will be there next year. Just do it exactly how you want. And again, if there's some hurdles in the road, just take a step back, rethink it, and then go back at it.